Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and this one is a special request on a Mitchell 306. Ray wrote me and asked me, how do we take the rotor off of the reel? So let's go ahead and show you how to do that, Ray. And for anybody else who's interested in servicing the 306 or the 307, this is the 306. It's the lower speed reel. The 406 is the higher speed reel. So we start by taking off the spool. Simple push down, push in, pull out kind of a exercise there. And you'll notice when you look inside that it's very different than almost all of the other Mitchells. There's no cap nut on this one, or there's no cap nut in the traditional sense. And I just pulled this out. It's a 300, but to show you what we're looking for. Most of the time, the 300, the 302 and that, we see a little cap nut here that's screwed onto the pinion gear, and you simply remove that and you can pull the rotor off. Well, that's not the case on this one, and so I can see why Ray is asking the question, how do you get that off? There is a slot. That's an indication that something's going on there. So let's show you exactly what's going on there. In order to remove the rotor, you want to pull out the shaft. We're going to do that by removing the side plate, and I don't know what's inside this reel. This reel is on my rebuild pile, but I haven't got there yet, and I won't be getting there today, but I will use it to show you exactly what it is. So you pull the side plate off using that screw. We're going to put those into my parts bucket. This is very typical of the design of the bigger reels. We have a two-stud kind of a connector that goes through to the rotor, the axle. So we're going to pull that off. That's going to help us remove the axle. That's the little connector we're talking about. Then you have the cross wind block. That's just sitting in here, but we have to remove the axle in order to remove that cross wind block. So there's nothing holding the axle now. You can simply pull that up and out. Now the cross wind block can come out, and that's as far as you have to go with this at the moment. But these things usually fall out, so let me just get those two tracks out of here so that we don't lose those. And we're going to put all of those into the bucket. And all that's left now is the main gear here as part of the assembly. Now if you're tuning all of this up, you can go and remove these. We'll show you how to remove the pinion gear. You can push the main gear out. You can clean all of this up and resurface. But the question was, how do I get the rotor out? And looking at this, I'll have to admit it is a little bit confusing if you're not familiar with the reel. So go find a coin, or in this case I have a washer that fits that slot. You can see what I'm talking about here, hopefully in that thing, but this one's almost perfect, about the size of a US quarter, but a little bit thinner. You're going to put that into the slot. You're going to use that for leverage to turn, and I just got it going now, to turn it, so we'll show you how that's working now. To turn that plastic cap off, and then eventually you can probably get it by hand. Alright, so that takes the nut off. That was Ray's question, how does the nut come off? The next question is, I guess, how the rotor comes off. So if you're looking at this rotor, typically you're going to see threads on the pinion gear, and you might think that this rotor is threaded on there. It is not. If you look closely at this, we'll see if we can do this. There's a keyway here. That's keyway is a little piece of metal that's inserted to stop a spin. So that indicates that this rotor would spin freely if the keyway was not there. So this rotor is not threaded onto it. It's floating on here. That's held in place with that keyway. So what you want to do is just pick a position. You should be able to rock the rotor. There we go. Rock the rotor back and forth. It's going to pull it out. Here's your keyway slot. Here's the keyway, and that should come out. I'm not going to go crazy here because I'm not showing you how to rebuild a reel, but that keyway comes out. Okay, and if you just lay that there and fear that I might lose it, you can see then that this would spin freely if you holding the main gear, but you can see that it would spin freely on that shaft without that keyway in place. So that's how you do it, Ray. You simply follow the steps that I just showed you there. Pull that up, then you can you can do your servicing off of there. There is additional pieces and parts in here. You can pull the collar off. You can get at the axle shaft. You can pull that out and then actually push it through, and then you can service the balance of the reel. So I hope that it's helped you. Just trying to put the keyway back in now. I want to put this reel back together so that when I do go to service it, I'm not missing parts. But that's the answer. You want to pull up, rocking it side to side after you've removed the nut with the coin. Okay, we're going to go back then. I'll just show you the reverse steps on it. So we have a keyway. You want to marry that over the slot. When you're going to reinstall, let's back up. You can take the washer now, or the nut rather, that goes on in a clockwise direction. This shows you how to reassemble a reel, by the way, if you had worked on it. We'll just go through this process just so everyone is familiar with it. You can take that washer, tighten that up. Next up, you want to put the brackets back in place. So we'll put the bracket for the crosswind assembly in place. Take the crosswind gear. That sits on the stud in the middle. You'll notice there's a metal square piece on the other stud that's going to ride inside the crosswind block. You'll see there's a track here for that. That gets set on to that traveler. Next up is the main shaft. Now the main shaft has got a cut side on it. That cut side is towards the main gear. So the cut side will go in. We want to get it lined up properly here. And then you'll be able, once you get the flat spot through, you'll be able to see the two holes come up through the crosswind block. And you're looking for your little clip. I'm sure there's a fancy term for that clip. That simply sets in there. Now that holds the crosswind gear in. Everything is assembled inside. And again, we're not rebuilding this reel at the moment. We're just simply showing how to get that rotor off. Maybe I'll do the rebuild on another one. Take our spool assembly, clip that back on. There's the reel. Okay, that was the answer to a quick answer to a short question that can confound a lot of folks. So if you have the 306, essentially showed you how to take that reel apart, get that rotor off of there, service the top end, take the pieces and parts off the bottom and put them back together. The only thing we didn't do on this was remove the main gear to clean inside of that. But that wasn't the question of the day. So I hope that's helped you. If you liked the video, please indicate it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. Again, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Thank you for watching.